how do you increase value, and where are the best resources to get your first property. To start, you're going to need a down payment. It costs about 20% of the total value of the house. And understanding that saving before you buy, getting in the habit of saving, is going to be very important. As you know, there's a lot more than just the mortgage. You're going to have to pay the property tax, the maintenance, the condo. And if this is a rental, well, who is going to do the maintenance? What about the snow and the grass? There are some other fees that are going to come up. So you want to make sure you're ready for those things when they do. Understand how much you can qualify for. A typical rule of thumb is 4 times your income plus your down payment. Talk to a lender, talk to a mortgage broker. This is your expert. And when you do, have your taxes and your employment information in order, specifically for the last 2 years. This is what they're going to use to qualify you. And this is the number that they're going to use, right, for the last 2 years, the average of the last 2 years, to figure out your income. Finding your first property. You're going to want to fix a budget. Now you know how much you can qualify for. You're going to find a range, look at things that are just above, just below your budget, get a feel for what you can purchase. Look at multiple listings and have a timeline. Is this a 2-year, a 5-year? Are you going to retire in this house? What is the timeline of the project? What is the vision? Again, talk to an agent and communicate all these things to them. And that person is definitely going to be there to help you out. It's all about cash flow. It is how much is enough rent? How much do you have to rent the place for? You have your hard costs. You have the costs that are not going to change. Your mortgage, your taxes, but you also have your external costs. Is the property in a good location? Is it in proximity to a school, maybe a daycare or the grocery store? And is the neighborhood itself just a more expensive neighborhood? The combination of both of these, your hard costs and kind of like your arbitrary costs, is what's going to make up your rent. After you've found some properties that you like, you will walk the neighborhood, you will walk the house with your agent, and some things to look for. Of course, you're going to keep your eyes open on the general things like the paint and the flooring. You're definitely going to have to do in a place like this, but also look for yellow ceilings. That may mean that there was a flood or some leaks that came from the roof. Cracking foundation. That's a sign that the whole base of the house is starting to crumble apart. Windows that are decaying. A whole list of things that you want to look for. And it's part of the reason why I put other, because every house is unique. Let's do a general analysis. Most properties don't cash flow, especially from day one, and it's normal and it happens. As time goes on, there's a chance that you'll be able to increase the rent, maybe cut back on some things, and then you'll start to cash flow. But just know not all properties cash flow. To estimate your rent, you're going to use your fixed cost and your approximate cost. And to know if you're in the right ballpark, you can use things like realtor.ca or Facebook Marketplace to find houses that are in your area that are very similar, which are considered comparable. So what could you compare to your listing to find what is a decent rent for that place? Cosmetic fixer-uppers are going to be what we're going to look for if we're going to get started in the rental real estate space. You want to find something with good bones, but dated aesthetics. Okay, so the house itself is decent, like this one we said here. It's just the renters maybe went a little too crazy and destroyed the floors, but floors and paint is very doable and not as expensive. And always get multiple contractor bids. So you're going to go to contractors to get the job done if you're not going to do it yourself. Get multiple, shop around. Just like you're shopping for multiple houses, shop for multiple contractors. A good rule of thumb is always estimate that you're going to be 25% over budget, and it's going to take 25% longer than your estimated timeline. Again, paint, flooring, a little bit of kitchen, like the countertops or the cabinets, some lighting, maybe legal if we're going to add the basement suite, the appraisal, and finally the buffer. So we're adding an extra $7,000 in case things go over budget. After we found a place that we like and the numbers look good, you're going to make an offer. Again, don't get emotional. Stick to the numbers. You know what is the approximate rent and how much you will need for the deal to make sense with your contingencies, with that extra maybe couple $100 a month in case things go wrong. You need to understand that you will not get all the offers that you put in. You may need to do some back and forth, or you may need to just look altogether at another place. Do your inspections. This is another expert that's often overlooked. It's always a couple $100, but can make a big difference. So you could literally go through the house with a checklist that I'm sure you could find online. Look at every single room, every wall and fixture. Have a list of things that need to be done and the status of the things that are okay. And then as you're coming in for your closing, as you're putting in your offer, you can leverage those things. So of course, we're going to come in at a price that we're looking to purchase the property, but there's also those conditions. You can make it conditional on financing. So you're saying, yes, I want to buy the house, but if the bank says no, I can't go through with it. If the inspector finds something that we didn't even budget for from the start, we might be able to walk away. These are all ways, again, that you could either walk away or negotiate the price. So if it's an inspection and you find some big problems, you might be able to take $20,000 or $30,000 off of the asking price because you're willing to do that work yourself, and they're willing to take a little bit of a cut because they also know that there are some problems in the property. Finally, using your experts, your agents, your lawyers, and your mortgage brokers, your inspectors, and all the other people that are going to be involved make a big difference and just make things so much easier. Finally, you've got the place. Now you've got to rent it out. You want to make sure that you have some good pictures. You can use an agent to help you rent it out. You're going to want to list your place on multiple platforms at the same time. But mainly, especially nowadays, using Facebook is the main way. When you found a tenant that you like, you are going to ask for a couple different things. Now you can ask for reference from their last landlord, to contact their job so you know they're actually working at the place that they're working, and you are going to want to have a lease that is very clear. If they are paying the water, it is written. If they have a parking spot or not, and who's going to clean the snow, what's going to happen if things break, where are the lines. Having everything written in the lease and the contract is extremely important, because if it goes to a court of law, it will always fall back on the lease. What did we agree on from day one? If you need help, you have your agent to help you with that. Understand the numbers, look for the risks of the property before you even get started. Just know those things. If you know the roof is going to be done, if you know you might need a new water heater, keep that in the back of your mind. Have the funds to do it. Again, if the goal is for it to be passive, everything needs to be good. If there's a ton of problems, it's definitely not going to be passive. If you do the right thing every time and don't cut corners, those things tend to not fail, and you spend less and less time at that property. I am not a financial advisor. I've lost and made thousands of dollars in multiple different industries, including real estate, and I am always open for questions in my free Discord. So if you are buying your first rental property, congratulations. And if you want to chat, I am always open for discussion.